Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. Today, we're talking about some same faces in some new places. We're going to talk about their fantasy relevance, who gets a boost, who gets a downgrade, who are we just completely ignoring at this point. That's Nick. I'm Theo. You know where to find us at DraftedUp_pod over on the Twitter. More importantly, the show, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you watch or listen to your podcast, will be there. Search Drafted Up Podcasts. Like, rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. We appreciate the support. Nicholas, how you doing this fine Thursday evening?
Doing good. Just another week closer to football, dude. Camp's going. We got bodies going. Mandatory camp.
Yes.
People skipping it.
No,
Steph Diggs.
Voluntary camp.
Sure.
It is voluntary. The Minnesota Vikings, though, everyone's there. Kevin O'Connell made the announcement that every member of the roster showed up for voluntary minicamp. Love to see it.
The complete opposite from Cincinnati and New England.
What happened with Steph Diggs? I missed that, and I've not been in the loop. I haven't looked into it. I know there was a baggie of a substance handed on a yacht to a lady.
Bad video surfaced of Steph Diggs on a yacht with three ladies calling him daddy, and he had a suspicious bag of pink substance, I believe what it looked like, but it was definitely cocaine if I had to guess. Yeah. And they were talking about it and stuff, and it's not a video you want coming out of New England for sure. No. So some PR is handling that.
Yes, it's funny because many moons ago, one of the Vikings posted just a video question asking players in the locker room of what player you wouldn't want dating your daughter or your sister.
I've seen that video.
Every single one of them said Stefon Diggs.
Steph Diggs, which is hilarious. He's a vibe, but I also heard reports that he's not going to be ready until at least week 4 of this season. So we'll get there when we get the receivers, though.
Yeah, so he's coming off the ACL tear. Yeah. So like I said, we're doing some guys that change teams, whether it be trade or free agency. We're going to talk about their fantasy relevance. So we're going to go position by position. We're going to go quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. No defensive stuff. We're not doing IDLs here. We're not about that life. So
we got some kickers that change teams, dog. We can talk kickers.
Sure.
Matt Gay switched teams. He's a commander now, so
they need that. They had injuries all over the place with kicker last year, and they had the one kicker who just couldn't hit anything, and then they had their other kicker was like automatic, but he was hurt twice throughout the year, and I don't remember either of their names.
Couldn't tell you. I had one constantly in fantasy. He was money, but he, like you said, he was constantly hurt. So, but no, we're not talking kickers. Let's go quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends. Dive deep into the guys that switch teams.
Yeah.
Where are we starting?
Not too deep, though.
No, good God, no. Relevant players.
Let's start with the running back position.
Not many guys.
Not too many. Yeah, a lot of them. It's handcuff situations or trying to find the starter in a muddled room, and that muddled room is Dallas. They signed Miles Sanders. They signed Javonte Williams. And we're strictly talking vets here. We're not bringing Jadon Blue into the situation. No. We've heard our thoughts on the rookies.
Well, he's not the same face. We don't know that guy's face yet.
That's true.
We know Javonte Williams' face, and it is the face of just sour milk.
Yeah.
But so Javonte's an interesting one.
Yeah. They also got Miles Sanders, and they're like the same player. They're just... They can be fantasy relevant, but it is truly disgusting if you're relying on one of them in your running back 2 or flex position. It is not a place you want to be. But Dallas, as we saw last year, Rico Dowdle was a fantasy relevant option for you. He had a ton of good games once Dallas gave him the opportunity to just be the guy. So there is value in this backfield, and
for sure.
It is Javonte Williams most likely. I would lean 85% that it is going to be Javonte Williams if someone shows up out of this backfield with 10% going to Miles Sanders and the rest going to Jadon Blue. But Javonte, he had his ups and downs last year. Like the first couple weeks of the year, he had like a 20% missed tackle rate, and then like after week 8, he had 0 missed tackles. So something happened, whether there was an underlying injury or he just ran out of gas. Like, I don't know. I don't, but there is upside with Javonte Williams. His rookie year, he was one of the highest, like after his performance rookie year, he was one of the top names in Dynasty. Everybody wanted a piece of Javonte Williams, and then unfortunately he tore his ACL, and he just has not been the same since then. But if there is going to be a player to have a J.K. Dobbins-like revival, it is Javonte Williams.
I agree. He's still relatively young, and not that you're going to believe reports coming from the players themselves, but Javonte Williams in an interview said that he feels 100% healthy finally. This is the first time in 2 seasons where he can confidently say he's healthy. So if you want to believe that, and you've believed in Javonte Williams over the course of his career, even at all, this is a good situation for him to be in. He led the NFL in receiving targets out of the backfield last year in Denver with Sean Payton as his head coach. So Dak loves the dink and dunk. I'm not going to say he's going to have a ton of targets like he did last year in Denver, but he's going to have a good amount of work out of the backfield, running and receiving. If Javonte Williams can stay healthy, I think he can possibly finish as a top 24 back, leaving him as an RB2 in fantasy football this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that pathway is there. I
Yeah.
really don't care that Miles Sanders is there. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think he's going to be much of an impact at all. I think it's going to be Javonte and Jadon Blue. But
Miles Sanders had showings last year when Chuba Hubbard was out. So
I agree, but I just don't see it. I don't think Miles Sanders is – he's good, but like we've seen what Philly's line did for DeAndre Swift as well. He left Philly and he was just absolute shit in Chicago. I'm going to say Miles Sanders is shit, but he's not the guy for a back unless you have an amazing offensive line like he did in Philly. Dallas's line has slowly decreased every single year over the last 4 years. I think they're going to lead the Javonte and then give it to their rookie as their receiving. So I think Javonte loses a lot of the target work that he had last year in Denver.
Yeah. This is truly like a week one situation, like watch week one's involvement. Because if Miles Sanders is involved early on in the season, there's a 99% chance he wasn't drafted in your league or won't be drafted. His current ADP is running back 63. So he is probably going to be on your waiver market, and you could probably snag him up early on. Javonte, and the best part about Javonte is like you don't have to spend a ton on him either. He's currently going as running back 37 early on in ADP situations where, again, we're far away from establishing a lock ADP situation. But right now, Javonte, we're looking at like running back 37. That is a truly take a flyer pick. So if you could take a flyer pick on a guy and he could be your RB2, that is great value for you in the end. And there is fantasy value, like I said, in the Cowboys running back. Look at Rico Dowdle last year. He was an RB2 when he was the guy week in, week out.
Rico, over the course of just a whole season, had 10 games in full point PPR games, over 10 plus points. And that's what I look at. If you can get over 10, 11 points, I'm willing to roster you because you're a really good flex option just consistently. And I think Javonte can be able to pull that out. If he's 100% healthy, like he says in his reports, I think he's going to put it together just because of Dallas's offense. It's not, I don't really believe in Javonte Williams as a talent. You loved him way more than I did coming out of college.
I did.
And after his rookie year, but I think he's going to be a feasible fantasy running back this season. Arguably the best running back we're going to be talking about out of this group of guys, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. Rico Dowdle, though, he's also on this list. Cowboys running back. He moved, and he didn't have much of a market. And I'm still like, I just don't know why Dallas just didn't bring him back. Familiar face. Did really well there. So now he's in Carolina backing up Chuba Hubbard. I would draft Rico Dowdle at the end of my draft on the chance. Chuba Hubbard got banged up last year. I don't know if Chuba is the type of guy who can handle the full close to 300 opportunity workload. And the fact that Carolina drafted a back in the second round in Jonathan Brooks a few years ago says they want to utilize multiple backs. They drafted ETN this year, but they brought in Dowdle. I expect Dowdle to be the spell guy. And we've seen fantasy value from Carolina. Chuba Hubbard was been great for them. And if he does get banged up or they start to kind of run a 60-40 type situation, we've seen Rico Dowdle be able to perform, and I think he is a good guy to stash at the end of your bench. He's going as RB44 right now, and if Chuba gets hurt, Rico Dowdle is a great option there in Carolina. It's a team that wants to run the football, and we've seen Rico be able to handle the workload as well.
Yeah, last year he had 235 carries, and he handled it well. I really like Chuba a lot this year, so I think they are going to lessen his workload, though, so he is healthier all season, and he can just constantly do what he does, being Chuba. But I think Rico's going to have a role, but I don't think he's going to be very fantasy relevant unless Chuba Hubbard gets hurt.
Yeah,
if Chuba goes down, then Rico's going to slide in as the everyday workhorse.
He is one of those backup running backs where I'm willing to hold on to for a couple weeks, just on the chance Chuba gets hurt week 1 or week 2, and then I am sitting pretty with the Panthers starting running back. I don't want him on waivers and have to outbid people and use all my fab on this guy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he is one of the better backup running backs in football. And I really do like the guy that's ahead of him. I love Chuba a lot this year. I think he's going to be very valuable in fantasy. But if he goes down, Rico's going to be a huge value, like you said. Yeah. But I think that's where his value is going to come from. I don't think he's going to see a huge role in the offense consistently, enough for you to flex start him. But I think he's going to have a huge role if Chuba goes down.
Yeah.
But I expect him to be on the field 25, 30% of the snaps. Just to lighten Chuba's workload a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm trying to keep this to guys in the top 50 of their position. Like Miles Sanders, like I said, I'd only brought him up because of the back situation. I'm not going to talk about Raheem Mostert, who would have had some fantasy value if the Raiders didn't draft Ashton Jeanty. But with Jeanty being there, Raheem Mostert is irrelevant. He's going as RB64. And then it's just, backup guys, Khalil Herbert, Alexander Madison. Like if I was going to talk about any of them, it would be Samaje Perine in Cincinnati's back with the Bengals after a few years away. And his is, I think he's more of a real life help, whereas he's going to be on the field for important situations like he always is. But I don't think he has
Kansas City.
And, he has no fantasy relevance. So that really limits us to Rico Dowdle, Javonte Williams, and then the top two guys being Jordan Mason and Najee Harris. Jordan Mason to me is the most intriguing because he's probably the full-on backup. Kevin O'Connell has pretty much always run one running back. It was predominantly Aaron Jones last year. Before that, it was predominantly Dalvin Cook. But Aaron Jones does have an injury history. Last year, he was healthy. He played the full season. He had his best season of his career. First time in his career.
Insane.
First time in his career, he had
season.
As many opportunities as he had last season in Minnesota. We also saw Jordan Mason have an incredibly productive fantasy season in his short time as the Niners RB1 when Christian McCaffrey got hurt. He was pretty much their running back for the first half of the year, and then he was banged up and just couldn't get that juice back after being healthy again. But Jordan Mason coming to Minnesota, if Aaron Jones does get banged up, I think there's a role where Jordan Mason is a fringe top 15 running back in fantasy. So he's truly the backup running back where I am willing to sit on, over Rico. He's the guy. It's him, Rico, and then your typical Rachaad White, those kinds of players. But Jordan Mason, just on the opportunity that Aaron Jones has injury history, or maybe Minnesota does want to move to a 2-back system. I don't think that's the case because Kevin O'Connell has shown it's been one back there the whole time. But I think Jordan Mason is the best handcuff, sit and stash backup running back. That's not like I said, Rachaad White, Najee / Amari and Hampton.
Yeah, guys that are constantly going to be playing. So they're handcuff backs that are playing a bunch. You brought up you guys going to a 2-back system. I would honestly love that. Aaron Jones is 30, and he took so much of a workload last year, and it's insane that he played every game. And he's a smaller dude. He's 5'10", 208. He's a smaller running back. He's older, and he almost does what Jordan Mason doesn't do. Aaron Jones is a really good receiving back, which it isn't talked about a lot. He had 50 catches last year for you guys. The year before that, he had 30, but he missed a bunch of games. He had 59, 52, 47, 49. He's always around 50 catches. Jordan Mason, in an offense where they always pass to the running back, they did not pass to him because he can't catch the ball.
Brother got brick
So
hands.
it's like they're the perfect complement to each other, and you paid both of them for the exact amount of time. They're both there for the next 2 seasons, for sure. So I would really like to see Jordan Mason be involved in this offense. And he averaged 97 yards on the ground for the games he was the full-time starter for the Niners. So like, he can run the hell out of the rock. And Aaron Jones is a very slept-on running back, comes in real life and in fantasy terms, to be honest. He was almost a top 15 back last year. I think it's going to be pretty close to that. I think he's going to be like a top 20 back. But I would love to see Jordan Mason out there on the field with Aaron Jones as well, dude. I want to see both involved.
I'm low-key upset with myself that I was out on Aaron Jones last year, and I was more trying to push the Ty Chandler narrative on my own football team when I loved Aaron Jones in Green Bay, and it was just a situation where I'm just like, I just don't buy it. And he came out and played really well, and now that I'm back in,
he's
feel
just consistent, dude. Yeah,
it's gonna happen to me. I'm gonna buy in. I'm gonna have a lot of shares of Aaron Jones, and he's gonna be phased out by Jordan Mason, but.
I still think he's going to be somewhat of a value in fantasy. It's not going to be like it was last year. Everyone slept on Aaron Jones. He's old. He's washed. It's a new team, and he came in and killed it for you guys.
But
I think you guys lessen his workload, though. He's 30 now. He had a career year in touches, and he's at the oldest age he's ever been. Obviously, that's how age works. He's older now than he was in Green Bay when he was splitting time with A.J. Dillon Thunder Thighs. Now it's his. I'm so happy for Aaron Jones that he's actually getting talked about, and it is going to be the year now where he's finally. Oh, hey, we have Jordan Mason. We're going to cut you back a little bit, but I hope not. Aaron Jones, the dog. I like the system you guys run.
Until I see it, I'm statting out Aaron Jones as the only relevant running back for this roster.
I would stat out Jordan Mason to probably around close to 500 yards.
Yeah, well, Jordan Mason's going as running back 36. I would be willing to say if Aaron Jones plays the whole season, Jordan Mason will not be a top 50 fantasy running back.
I would say he is. I would say they're both pretty relevant.
Yeah. See, I'm into what Aaron Jones did last year. It's going to be similar this year, and we're looking at a top 15, top 20 running back. But Jordan Mason is a absolute stash. If you have Aaron Jones, you draft Aaron Jones. I usually don't like handcuffing myself. I just feel it's a waste of a roster spot. But with a running back who does have an injury of history, you do want the running back out of Minnesota, and we've seen Jordan Mason be really good. And that leaves us with Najee Harris, who weeks before the draft was the running back 1 in Los Angeles.
So in on Najee for like a 2-week stretch.
Oh, you're always in on Najee. Don't lie to the people. That's your guy.
He's so consistent, dude. 1,000 yards every year. You know what you're going to get with Najee.
And now he's going as running back 31 because the Chargers drafted Amari Hampton. So
they drafted the guy way better than him.
Najee is going to be involved, though. It's a Harbaugh system, Roman system. They utilize multiple backs. I think, if anything, it's going to hurt Hampton in the touchdown department. So I think Najee could score a ton of touchdowns and only have 600, 700 yards, but have 8 to 10 touchdowns.
I agree.
And that touchdown work propels him into a potentially low-end RB2, high-end flex player.
Yeah, for sure. I think Najee's, for like the first 8 to 10 weeks of the season, which is pretty much all of the fantasy season, is going to be a really relevant flex guy. With Hampton there, it definitely caps his ceiling. He's not going to be an RB2, low-end 1 like he could have been if it was just him in the system. But he's still going to be a really good flex guy just based off the two-back system. They used the hell out of Gus Edwards last year, and he was absolutely horrendous. He was so bad.
Talk about just hitting a wall out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah,
Edwards,
for sure.
Like, he fell off that cliff quick.
Yeah. But I love what the Chargers have done instantly with their running back room. Adding Najee Harris, who I love. He's a super consistent running back. And then they went out and got Omario and Hampton, who I have said nothing but praise on this podcast about. I love the Chargers here. I think they could easily take that division. not easily, obviously, but I think they could realistically take that division over the Chiefs, over Denver, definitely over Vegas. But Najee's a touchdown machine, dude. He showed it in Pittsburgh the last 4 or 5 seasons. So in the Harbaugh system, he could easily push to double-digit touchdowns. Omario Hampton's going to have a crazy season too, so that definitely caps his limit. But go out and get Najee late in drafts now. He's going to be probably round 9, round 10. And hell yeah, dude, take that. If you can get a guy that late and could possibly get double-digit touchdowns out of him, I'll take that every day, dude.
So of these guys, Najee, Jordan Mason, Javonte Williams, Rico Dowdle, which one would you most be excited to have on your roster? Javonte. And that's
Javonte's a guy I'm actively but I'm actively trying to seek him. Like if you're doing best ball drafts now, just because where he's going and he could be an RB2, it's pure value now. Obviously, when we get closer to camp and preseason starts and depth charts get announced, people are going to know where Javonte is on that depth chart, and his ADP is either going to go up, probably 10 running back spots to like the low end 20s.
I don't think it goes up too much. I would say he ends up like switching where Najee's going right now. Najee's going 31, Javonte 37. I think you would see Javonte in that 27 to 30 range, not 37 to 40 range.
Yeah, but he's not going to be drafted as an RB2.
It's still going to be discounted, and the reason I agree with you with Javonte, it is opportunity. You see it. He has the most opportunity, like for sure. Like you're not worried about Miles Sanders. I'm worried about Miles Sanders a little more than you, but Miles Sanders isn't scaring me away from using one of my last starting spots on Javonte Williams. But upside wise, I do think Jordan Mason or Najee has more upside than Javonte. I think there's a chance where like Najee can touch down his way to a good fantasy season, and Jordan Mason is an injury away from being a bell cow running back for a great offense.
I totally agree. You remember that season when Garrett Blunt had New England when he had like 17 rushing touchdowns?
Yes.
But he only had like 800 some yards. I honestly think Najee could have that kind of season, dude. Such a weird season where he's just eating up touchdowns, dude. Yeah.
I will be mind blown.
It's just, it's in the realm of possibility.
I think I capped myself at 10.
I'd cap myself at, I don't think he's going to get over 15, but I think he could push 15.
LeGarrette Blount did have 1,000 yards that season.
Whoa, what a guy. What a good season.
He had 1,161 yards and 18 touchdowns. Not even 10 years ago. That feels like a millennium.
That is like RB1 territory in fantasy football. That's an amazing season. 18 touchdowns.
And he had... But on just 8 starts. Wasn't even the starting running back there.
That's big dog shit right there, dude. You love to see it. But yeah, I think Najee could do something like that. Like, obviously he's not going to have the yards or 18 touchdowns. But like a lesser version of that, like 800 yards and 12 touchdowns, that's still a really good fantasy season.
Yeah. That was the only time LeGarrette Blount broke 10 touchdowns in a season.
Yeah, I truly believe that.
He had 700
not
yards.
that good.
The 2 years after and the year before that, though, where he had some fantasy value. LeGarrette Blount, what a shout out! LeGarrette Blount, big body.
The second thing that comes to mind when I think of LeGarrette Blount is literally that he punched a kid in the face in college.
Yeah, and it caused him to go undrafted.
Yeah, and then he went undrafted in the draft because of it, and then he did that season where he had 18 touchdowns, and that's the first thing I think of when I think of LeGarrette Blount is that crazy outlier season where he went off.
Yeah, so pretty much with these guys to round it out, Rico Dowdle, Jordan Mason are your stashes, hope if an injury to either Chuba or Aaron Jones, and then Najee sort of this middle ground where he's starter flexible. Early, probably loses his job, but still has a workload there, and Javonte has the opportunity to be a bell cow out of those 4, which makes him the most appealing. All right,
for sure.
Tight ends. Or tight end.
Tight end.
We'll
just one.
Tyler Conklin is the other name. He is currently being drafted as tight end 37.
He is listed. I know depth charts aren't official or anything, but on our lads, he is listed as the Chargers' backup to Will Dissly,
which I think is just a Will Dissly was the guy there last year. I think
they're both going to be on the field a bunch. They run so much two tight ends.
They wanted to do that last year with Dissly and the other tight end who was there, Hayden Hurst.
I was going to say Stone, but it definitely wasn't that guy.
It was Hayden Hurst. Stone Smart was there. He changed teams too. He's still on the New York Jets. Had they not drafted Mason Taylor,
I see his name right there.
Stone
That
Smart.
is true.
But no, Tyler Conklin, he's at best a streamer on a heavy bye week situation, or just there was that stretch where Will Dissly was putting up some fantasy numbers here and there because he was the only tight end on the
fantasy
roster.
Stretch for sure.
Whereas I think Tyler Conklin's better than Will Dissly. I do. On the football field, I would take Tyler Conklin over Will Dissly, but the Chargers tight end position does not excite me. Like I said, this is at best a streaming option on a heavy bye week, or if you're just real desperate due to injury, just a plug-in guy if he ends up taking the full-time starting role. But tight end 37, he probably does outperform that, but I don't think it'd be by much.
I agree. I totally agree.
But the tight end,
let's get to the one that matters.
is Evan Ingram, formerly of the Jacksonville Jaguars, now on the Denver Broncos. He's going as tight end 7, which feels a little rich to me, but I haven't really done my tight end rankings. And
I disagree.
Okay.
It's the Sean Payton thing, dude. Sean Payton loves tight ends, and then he gets Jimmy Graham. Evan Ingram is a pure receiving, huge body tight end.
I mean, he's
I think Bo
Nix
is going to eat that up. No, but he's big. I think Bo Nix is going to eat up Evan Ingram in the middle of that field, dude. I think Evan Ingram is in line for a huge PPR season of fantasy. I think there's that chance where he had like 100 catches in Jacksonville. I'm not saying he's going to push 100, but I think he's going to get over 80.
Evan Ingram is 35 pounds lighter and 4 inches smaller than Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham's huge, dude. He's like 6'8".
Yeah. Maybe I like I said, I haven't done tight ends, so I just don't see that 114 catch season with 143 targets for Evan Ingram.
I think he's big 80 catches though, which is crazy for a tight end.
His first season in Jacksonville, I do think 73 for 767. I do think that's probably the realm we're looking at in Evan Ingram. It's just a matter of does he actually score touchdowns this year,
that's going to be the thing, but
never does.
If Evan Ingram stays healthy, because I stat out my guys as if they're playing a full season. You can't stat out guys if they're.
Yeah.
I think Evan Ingram could easily push 80 catches, 800 yards, 5 touchdowns, which is a monster season for a tight end.
Five touchdowns would be the second highest of his career. His career high is 6 his rookie year. But
I think he's playing in the best offense he's ever played in.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just can't bank on him actually getting all these touchdowns when he's just never done it before. So that's what worries me is that Evan Ingram, we just see the baseline
in PPR leagues.
He is going to bring you value as just a pass catcher. He's going to do that. Denver really doesn't have that work the middle of the field guy. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, they're more field stretching type weapons there for Bo Nix. So Evan Ingram does bring that element. It's like him and Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant and him, similar style players. They run the crossers in the middle. And if I had to bank on one of those guys being the focal point of the offense, I'm going to bank more on Evan Ingram than I am on third-round draft pick Pat Bryant. But Evan Ingram could be the Mike Thomas of this offense. So 80 catches isn't out of the realm of possibility. And Mike Thomas wasn't exactly a touchdown guy, sans that like one season where he had like 12 touchdowns, where he was wide receiver 1. And
he was amazing for fantasy.
He's never played another snap of football since then.
Like I don't fully have my tight end statted out, but I would confidently say I would take Evan Ingram over TJ Hawkinson this season in redraft leagues.
I agree, and I think that plays more to quarterback for me.
I agree.
And the fact that Justin Jefferson's there and Jordan Addison, they're much better options to take away from Hawkinson.
Like there's a possibility for Evan Ingram to lead his team in targets. That's not a possibility for TJ Hawkinson. So it's not going to happen.
Tight ends around Evan Ingram, obviously, I'm going to skip like the top guys: Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, George Kittle. So Sam Laporta, I would probably lean Laporta Then Ingram, though, the change in offense, you don't really know what's going to happen there with Detroit. But
I
I
think
would
those
still
guys are a
lean,
lot closer than people realize they are in fantasy.
I would lean towards Laporta just on touchdown upside for him.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is Hawkinson. I agree. I would take Evan Ingram over TJ Hawkinson right now. Then it's Travis Kelce.
I'm taking Evan Ingram.
Yeah, me too. I think Kelsey's going to be sold on name value, and I just can't buy that he's going to be a relevant option.
Rashid Rice is back this year, dude. Yeah. I think he's.
I don't trust a guy coming off an ACL injury. I actually think Xavier Worthy's going to be a better fantasy play this year than Rashid Rice.
Ooh, disagree. Disagree. Completely disagree. I think Rice is going to be a monster this year when he gets fully back on the field.
Yeah. I think Worthy's going to be, just based on the fact he's not coming off the injury, I think Worthy's going to be the best option in that receiving game. Jonnu Smith.
You want to make like a full point PPR bet end of the season? Who has the more points?
Oh, I don't want to do.
Come on, dude. I'll take Rice.
Rashi Rice could.
Come on, dude. Speak those words, brother. Speak those words.
Like I think
Rice is going to outscore Worthy 100%. I'm very confident.
And I think if he does, it's just going to be off catches in half point PPR. I think Worthy beats him. I think Worthy's going to have more touchdowns and more yards than him.
Oh, I disagree in the yards.
But I think Rashi Rice could have 30 more catches, which could bump him up, even though he's got lesser numbers otherwise.
If you look at the 3 games he played, because he only played in 3 games, it feels like so many.
I get it. I just don't.
He was on pace for like 1,600 yards.
I don't like taking guys coming off ACL injury. We've seen that it takes a year. So I'm just going to bank on the guy that's coming in healthy and with no legal problems.
See, I still don't think he gets suspended this year. I still don't think that's a worry this season.
Probably not, because Jordan Addison also hasn't got suspended. He had a DUI thing, so who knows?
My problem with Worthy is that he was like so hyper targeted last year, and he still really didn't produce. Like the one game it took him 14 targets to get to like 50 yards. They're not going to hyper target him that much with all of these guys back in the offense.
But I think he's going to get designed plays meant for big opportunity.
I agree, but I think when players are like that, they disappear from games. Like, I think there are going to be games where Worthy has 1 catch for 10 yards.
He's going to be like Deshaun Jackson. He's going to be this big, flashy.
See, I don't think he's going to be that good. I don't think he's going to be that good.
I'm right now. I haven't done the Chiefs. I haven't done any team, but I'm right now leaning towards Worthy being the best option. But I think I'm just at the case where I just don't want a Kansas City. I don't want an offensive player. I think it's gonna be too much spreading the ball around.
I'm cool with Rice. I'm really high on Rice this season.
Yeah, I don't want to bank on a guy coming off an ACL injury.
I get that. I do get that. I'm trying to get a guy that we could cap though, and he's so good.
Jonnu Smith, back to Evan Ingram. Jonnu Smith, he's going same area as Evan Ingram.
I would take Evan Ingram.
Yeah, I agree. Jonnu Smith could just be that 1-year wonder type thing, and now there's talks he might get traded. And if he gets traded to Pittsburgh, I get Arthur Smith loves Jonnu Smith.
I'm out on him if he's in Pittsburgh.
I don't love him in Pittsburgh.
I agree. If I want Jonnu, I want him in Miami because I've seen what he did last year. I just don't trust him in Pittsburgh at all.
And then the 4 tight ends going after Evan Ingram: Mark Andrews, Tyler Warren, David Njoku, Colston Loveland.
Yeah. So Evan Ingram was like what, tight end 5, 6? Just like real quick off the cuff.
Yeah, he would be 5 if you took because you took him over all the guys I talked about. Except, did you take him over Laporta?
That's a toss up.
Okay, because
it depends on which way.
4.
If you're playing full point PPR, I would probably lean Evan Ingram, but if it's half point, definitely take Laporta, just based off touchdown upside.
Yeah. All right. Before we move on to quarterbacks and wide receivers, let's shout out our friends over at Finley Hats and W Energy. Finley Hats, as you know, big hat guy over here. They're creating hats for good times, and they're unlike any other hat on the planet. They have a lifetime warranty, so if your hat is damaged or destroyed, they'll repair it or replace it completely free. They got their cool little laces that you can secure your hat To your head, if you're out, windy weather, you're out there fishing, you don't want to lose your hat while you're out there on the boat, or you're just at the beach or having some fun in the backyard, grilling, running routes, playing catch with your kids or your boys. Your hat stays nice and snug to your head. They also have the little hidden pocket. You can stash some stuff in there. So join the Findlay Force, and in the video description, there will be a link. Click the link, and it'll give you 15% off your first purchase over at Findlay Hats. They do cool drops once a week that has a ton of unique stuff. They did monsters this past week. Before that, they did shrimps. Like it's all some cool, unique things. They have mystery boxes. They got dad hats, snapbacks, beanies, sunglasses, all sort of cool stuff. So check them out over Findlay Hats. Join the force, and like I said, click the link in the description, and you'll get 50% off. It is your first purchase. And then, of course, our OG, W Energy. W prides itself on 100% full ingredient disclosure and transparency. It's jitter-free, crash-free. No sugars, no artificial dyes, no artificial colors, no calories. They got a collab with Solo Leveling, which won Anime of the Year. So shout out to them. They got a cool, it's like a blue raspberry Hawaiian punch type thing. It's really good. They do content. They do flavors with like content creators. So collabs there. They got abundance of unique stuff and flavors. So check them out over at Dubby. They got a new one. It's s'mores that you're meant to mix with milk. So they're branching out there. They're doing some cool, unique stuff. So check them out at dubby.gg or download their app from the App Store. Just search Dubby Energy, and of course, use the code DRAFTEDUP for a nice 10% discount on any purchase. First, second, 20th, 100th. You'll get it every time. That's Dubby Energy. Be better with Dubby. Eat that dub.
I seen you almost said it before their actual catchphrase. Eat that dub. Speaking of eating those dubs, quarterbacks.
Yes. We'll start. The Giants have, two
new quarterbacks. Three, technically.
Three, if you count Jackson Dart. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. Jameis is going as quarterback 43, Russ at quarterback 30. I don't personally want to bet on either of them because I just don't trust the Giants' offense with them.
Yep.
And I don't even think Jameis Winston's going to be on this team. I think he's going to be the odd man out. And Russell Wilson, I don't think makes it the full season as a starter. I actually do think we see Jackson Dart this year at some point.
I agree. I think Dart hits the field at some point, a little bit after Thanksgiving, probably. But no, I disagree. I think Winston does make the team, though. I think it's going to be Russ, Winston, and Dart. And I don't think DeVito is going to make the team. But yeah, I don't trust any of those guys fantasy-wise. Dynasty-wise, I would be in on Dart. I like Dart a lot, obviously. Russ in 2 QB leagues, deep leagues, super flex, you could possibly get something for maybe the first 8 weeks, but it's not going to be consistent. Just hope Malik Neighbors is out there, who is not going to be ready until camp, which is terrifying. So I do not like that. He is dealing with a toe injury, which apparently he's been dealing with since college. Why has this not been dealt with since?
Players are weird.
Just take the toe. Just take the toe off. He doesn't need it.
Take the toe. Take the toe. Other meh quarterbacks, the Cleveland Browns, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett.
Oh, come on, ours are better than the Browns situation. That's crazy, dog.
I would say Joe Flacco and if Kenny Pickett had Joe Flacco's body, I'd be in on Kenny Pickett. But
if Joe Flacco was Kenny Pickett's age, yeah, I'd be in.
But I essentially hold Joe Flacco and Russell Wilson as the same. I don't think one's better than the other. But is Joe Flacco going to be the Browns quarterback? I don't know. If he is,
I don't think so.
If he somehow is, I'm more in on the Browns ancillary pieces. Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, David Njoku especially. If Joe Flacco is there.
Njoku's right there with Evan Ingram in that conversation.
With Evan Ingram. Yep, yes. I agree. But Kenny Pickett, Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, I'm very wary of the Browns situation. But yeah, they're again quarterbacks I'm not looking at. And then there's the big three being Fields, Darnold, Geno. But
LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, the big three.
Yes, but I do want to bring up Daniel Jones.
Let's talk. I'm cool with that. Yeah, for sure.
There is the opportunity for Daniel Jones to be the starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, whether it be week 1 or week 4. But I do think Richardson starts.
Who starts more games for the Colts this year? Richardson or Jones?
More confidently, I would say Daniel Jones.
I agree.
The heart tells me to go with Anthony Richardson because I love him. And I think that's just better for Anthony Richardson. He has to play football to get better at football. But if the Colts want to win football games
or be competitive,
this is disgusting. But Daniel Jones gives them the best chance of doing it, unless Anthony Richardson turned that switch on. And then if that's the case, Anthony Richardson is a huge value, but he was there. So that's talk for another episode.
We'll get there, for sure. But I think Danny Jones has legitimate potential.
Relevance. Like, I think you could start Daniel Jones based off athleticism. Yeah.
He runs. Yeah. He runs. He averages a bunch of rushing yards per game. And he's going to do that regardless of where he is. He's going to always kick it out. He's sneakily athletic, and he likes to run when pressured.
And
I think Danny Jones starts more games for the Colts, though, than Anthony Richardson.
For the Colts weapons as well, that I think is better for them. Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, that Alec Pierce.
Jonathan Taylor. It opens up the run game. Yeah. I think Anthony Richardson takes too much rushing away from Jonathan Taylor.
Especially in the red zone. I think you'll see touchdowns
in the red zone.
Johnny
insane,
Taylor.
Dude. Yeah.
At Tyler Warren. Daniel Jones being there favors those guys. It's same with like Cleveland. You're going to want the weapons a little bit more of Daniel Jones. I don't think Daniel Jones propels them like Joe Flacco would, the Cleveland guys, but I wouldn't be afraid to start Josh Downs or Michael Pittman or Tyler Warren if Daniel Jones was there. I'd be confident just putting them in my lineup. Whereas with Richardson, I'm going to be like, I got to bank on a big player, a touchdown for one of those guys.
Richardson is so scary, dude. It's
not
what you want for any of your fantasy weapons.
For Anthony Richardson, I want him to play. I want him to play the whole season because, yeah, exactly. Because if he plays the whole season, then you can go into next year whether you know if he's it or not.
I think this is it. I think this is going to be the last. If he doesn't have it this year, they're done. They're going to reset.
And send him to Minnesota. Let Kevin O'Connell get his hands on him, even in a backup role behind my boy, future daddy, J.J. McCarthy. All right. Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you rather have?
I was just about to ask you.
Come on. You know
wait, what are we talking? Fantasy or are we taking real life?
Fantasy. It's a no-brainer. Okay, it's Justin Fields.
If Justin Fields plays every game, it's going to be him.
He's going to.
He might get benched. He sucks. He's absolutely horrendous.
But who are they benching him for?
Anybody.
Here's the thing. Justin Fields.
They could literally sign a quarterback off the streets, and he's better than
Justin Fields.
I'm so tired of this guy getting nothing but. Oh, did Justin Fields, if he had weapons, if he had coaches, if he had people that just cared about him, maybe if he was good, people would care about him.
The Jets have clearly put their full faith in Justin Fields. They didn't draft a guy. They didn't bring a guy in.
Yeah, and it's disgusting.
Aaron Glenn and them, they're backing Justin Fields. So this is it. This is when Justin Fields has had the opportunity for fantasy football. When he's been the guy with no worry of another quarterback coming in, he's been a top 10 quarterback every single week.
Yeah.
He has rushed for 1,100 rushing yards in a season. For fantasy purposes, Justin Fields is probably one of my most go out and get him quarterback because people in your league are going to draft him most likely on his name, and then they're just be like, Justin Fields, I don't want him. But this guy has top 10 fantasy potential with his ability to run the football. And I
agree.
I'm in on Justin Fields for fantasy purposes. I think he will be the Jets quarterback all 17 games. And I think it's good for Garrett Wilson as well. I think they will be fine. Like DJ Moore was great with Justin Fields. I think Garrett Wilson is going to be really good with Justin Fields. College teammates. I think Justin Fields could be a league winner, especially if you're a team like me. I always back off. I don't want to use an early round pick on a quarterback. And if you miss out on Hurts, Allen, Jackson, Burrow, Daniels. I'm waiting and I'm taking Justin Fields and I'm going to pair him with one of the pocket guys, whether that be Baker, Goff, Dak, or Drake May, who's a little bit different than that. But I'm going to pair Justin Fields with one of those guys and hope that if I miss on the pocket passer or Drake May, if they don't produce fantasy wise, that Justin Fields just gives me this floor because of his rushing ability and just his ability to just put up ridiculous numbers that aren't good for real football, but are great for the fantasy world.
Yeah, no, I get it. Justin Fields is, I did pull to you. I just combined the two quarterbacks. Justin Fields is the right option, obviously, but he's so scary on just based off talent. Sure, he can go out and blow up some weeks, but some weeks he's just going to absolutely shit the bed. That's not going to happen with Geno Smith. Geno Smith is going to be so consistent every single week.
Right.
And he's going to have close to 4,000 yards, probably push 30 touchdowns. Geno, I'm confident
Geno
I could get a good floor.
Geno would be my second pick.
Oh, still, yeah, Darnold's third in every world, for sure. I'm not going to take Darnold over Justin Fields, and I think Darnold's going to have a really good season. I don't think he's going to have a good fantasy season at all. But I think he's going to be a real-life good quarterback. I think it's going to work out in Seattle. I don't think you do.
I don't think he's going to be great. I don't think he's going to be bad. I think he'll be a little bit less than what Geno Smith was for them, and Seattle's just a good football team. Mm-hmm. I think they're just going to hover around 500.
No, I agree. Yeah, I don't think Sam Darnold's going to go in there and light it up like he did last year with you guys.
I think he can make the playoffs wins with this roster.
Oh, I agree, 100%. I think Sam Darnold could take this team to the playoffs. But I think Geno's going to have a really good year in Vegas. I think all three of these guys are going to have decent years. Justin Fields is going to have the better fantasy year. So I hope I'm wrong with Justin Fields. He's one of the guys that I loved in Ohio State. I loved him coming out. He just never put it together, and I got really tired of people just handing out excuses for Justin Fields, you particularly.
But they're there. These are viable things.
But he's also really bad. He's not Anthony Richardson bad. No. And I will never say that. He is so much better than Anthony Richardson. And that's why he keeps getting chances. But I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to get a starting chance somewhere.
Sometimes these guys just need the opportunity to be the guy without any lingering stuff over them. They just need the opportunity to just go out there and play football. I think Sam Darnold was the same boat. People were just like, Sam Darnold. Hey, he was top 3 pick, but he's this, he's that. And then he goes to Minnesota and he blows up and is incredible. Now, how much of that was Sam Darnold? How much of that was Kevin O'Connell? I don't know. But I think Justin Fields is a situation where, he just needs the full backing of the team to just, go out there, do your thing. You're our quarterback. We're not benching you. You are going to be our quarterback. And I think that comes a long way where he doesn't have that looming over his shoulder. And he should be able to block that out, but sometimes
it's a lot less stressful. Yeah. But he's playing in a huge market now. He's playing in New York. So that's also very worrisome. But he's always played in big markets. He literally played at Ohio State. Then he went to Chicago, which is a huge football city. Mm-hmm. Could he finally be the Bears quarterback that gets him over the hump? And he wasn't. And then he went to Pittsburgh, got benched from Russell Wilson. And
he shouldn't have.
I disagree.
He was better than Russ last year.
I disagree. But I don't know if it's his thing. I need to see him play good real-life football, which doesn't happen ever consistently. I've seen him be a really good fantasy option, but until you show me you're a really good real-life quarterback, I need to see some more.
Yeah. I don't really care about real-life situation. I want him in fantasy football because he will give me cheat code-like numbers, despite the fact that he is a below-average quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. As long as you fit that in there, I'm happy with agreeing with you.
That's why people hate fantasy football, because of stuff like this, where Justin Fields is one of the best fantasy quarterbacks, despite the fact that he is at best, top 27 quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I am 100% agreeing with everything you say.
Yeah, that's
where I am where Justin Fields is a top 10 quarterback.
I love Justin Fields in fantasy football. I don't love him as much in real football. I wouldn't make him my franchise quarterback.
No, there's not a world.
I would gladly make him my QB1 in fantasy.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy I'm targeting later in drafts for sure. He's because he has the rushing ability. He could outrush Kyle, or he could outrush Daniels.
Yep.
He's not going to outrush Lamar. Lamar is so consistent with rushing. So, but yeah, Fields has easily the biggest ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
But I could also see him being benched for Tyrod Taylor. I could honestly see that happen.
I don't. I don't think that benefits the Jets whatsoever. So I think Tyrod's there just
It
as
gets you a better real life quarterback for sure.
a safe gap. Well, I mean, you think Justin Fields is bad, so Justin Fields should theoretically get you a better draft pick.
No. I'm saying Tyrod Taylor is a better real life quarterback than Justin Fields.
Yeah, but you think the Jets then don't want to win games. Justin Fields could lose them games, and then they can draft.
No team wants to tank, dude. Especially a coaching staff from Detroit. They're playing as hard as they could possibly play.
But no, I'm in on Justin Fields. I am glad he's getting the full backing of the Jets organization.
Chance. Crazy.
But really, Pittsburgh wasn't really a chance. He was never meant to be the starter there. They came out and said that.
Well, yeah, they said Russell was the starter, yeah.
Even though the team played better when Justin Fields was on the field as the starting quarterback. And Chicago is just a mess in general. Like, I don't want any young quarterback going there. Like, I don't worry as much about Caleb Williams because I think he has generational talent potential. But if Caleb Williams failed, I would lean that more into the organization than the talent.
Yeah, especially after last year. All those reports about Caleb Williams was forced to watch tape by himself and no coach would tell him how to prep for games or what. It's insane what's going on
I
with
hate
that
the
organization.
Bears. I hate the Bears, and I hope Ben Johnson changes this culture.
It's going to
it'll be
happen.
better. It'll be better for real football if the Bears are good. And also, I like Caleb Williams as a talent. I love DJ Moore. I love a lot of guys on the Bears. So I do want, and I want a fun competitive division. Like the NFC North is a division full of great teams, and Chicago being better is better for the division as a whole.
You think Caleb Williams is the first Bears quarterback that breaks 4,000 yards passing this year?
Yes. I don't.
You think it happens? I think it happens.
Yeah, probably, but
he has so many weapons around him, dude. I think he's gonna have a good year.
Yeah,
I'm very in on Caleb.
Right. Speaking of weapons, let's talk wide receivers. There's a ton.
There's a bunch.
Here we go. We'll rapid fire some of the lower names: Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Brandon Cooks, Mike Williams, Diami Brown, Tyler Lockett. Brandon Cooks, maybe. Mike Williams.
Dallas, yeah.
No, Brandon Cooks now in New Orleans.
Oh, from Dallas to New Orleans. Yes.
Diami Brown got paid, but he's the third option at best in Jacksonville. So I would take a flyer on him in like best ball, but redraft, not interested. MVS, not interested. Nick Westbrook-Akine, no thank you.
If we're talking best ball, I'll take Mike Williams all day.
Mike Williams, Nick Westbrook-Akine, MVS, best ball guys.
Yeah.
Dude, lock them in.
For sure.
Give me those best ball numbers. Same with Diami Brown. I think Brandon Cooks is probably the best redraft option. That's just Chris Olave can never stay healthy. Did I say Tyler Lockett?
You did say Tyler Lockett. He was the last person you named.
Oh. Yes. Yeah, I would take Lockett.
I think Tyler Lockett has a legitimate chance to be like, I get Calvin Ridley's there, but he's like a really big play kind of guy.
Consistent option for
a rookie quarterback. Tyler Lockett is a very safety blanket kind of thing. And I get Cam Ward is always looking for the superhero play, but Tyler Lockett's always going to be open every single play. Well, no, he can for sure. Yeah. But he plays very safe football. Goes down, he plays short, plays simple, and he can take the top off, but he's getting old. Mm-hmm. But I think Tyler Lockett has a chance to be a pretty good PPR option where he's just eating up catches.
Deontay Johnson is also ahead of these guys, and I wouldn't take him over any of them.
I don't think I would ever pick that guy in any type of... he's useless.
Yeah,
he's a cancer to a locker room, dude. You played for 4 different teams last year.
Yeah, I don't think he makes the Browns roster.
I agree. I 100% agree.
And if he does, I don't like
he's
that
not going to be used.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to. He's going to be gone by week 4. He's going to be in Baltimore for the 5th time.
Yeah. All right. So I would agree, though. Tyler Lockett's your best redraft option. And then
for sure,
Brandon Cooks does give you a little upside as well, especially if Chris Olave can't stay healthy. Tyler Shuck is going to need to throw the ball to somebody, or Desmond Ritter or Spencer Rattler, whoever the other quarterback is there in New Orleans.
Dude, so many reports that Ritter's been looking great in camp, and that terrifies the hell out of me.
It's Rattler, right?
Spencer Rattler. It's Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler. They are. But all the reports are saying he's looked amazing in camp, and that terrifies me for any New Orleans player. Kamara, Olave, Jawan Jennings.
If it's him, he's not going to be the quarterback long. I just don't think he can hold the job.
I don't even know how you just don't give the job to Shuck, dude. Like, I get you drafted him in a second. He's not a first-round pick. But he's probably older than Rattler. He has to be. He has way more experience. Just let him play,
Probably
dude.
not, because he hasn't played. So it's hurt.
Rattler only played like 2 years of college.
Nah, Spencer Rattler was a 4-year starter.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I thought he sat his first 2 seasons.
No, he was a freshman. He played in Oklahoma, got benched, transferred to South Carolina.
And sat?
No, he played.
Sure. You sure about that?
12, 13, 9, 11. He sat his freshman year. He only played 3 games. But 11, 9, 13, 12, 48 games.
Oh, Shuck had to have that. Shuck played 32 seasons in college football.
But no, I would start Tyler Shuck. Obviously, I was much higher on Tyler Shuck, even in the Tyler Shuck was 42, but it was 12, 4, 7, 4, 7, 4, 5, 3.
Full season. Yeah.
You
read that backwards.
Those 5 years.
You read that. Okay.
Yeah, I went up.
Yeah.
Those years combined into like 2 seasons. Jake Haener being hurt kind of hurts this. I think Jake Haener might have won the job.
Bums me out, dude. I agree. He could have won that job.
But again, I do think fully it'll be Tyler Shuck for the majority of the year, and I think that's better for the Saints' options in
do you
general.
think there's a realm where Winston goes back there?
Yes.
And then Winston's their starting quarterback, and I love that for their options, dude.
Yes, but
I think there's a realm where Winston just goes back to Chicago or Cleveland or New Orleans. And he just starts for one of those teams.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I'd agree with that. Next group, these guys are all kind of clustered together, being Stephon Diggs, Christian Kirk, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, and Joshua Palmer.
Yeah, it's a little rich for my liking with Palmer, and even Hopkins, I'm not going to lie to you.
Here's the interesting tidbit of Palmer. Palmer was one of the best receivers against one-on-one coverage last year off a certain amount of targets, and the Bills saw that the most and were the most successful. So I wouldn't be surprised
Gabe Davis
if there's some sneaky value for Josh Palmer. But again, I think he's a best ball situation.
Yeah.
Or a spot start. But again, I think there's just a lot of names in that room as well, like Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid. There's a lot to go around. Josh Allen spreads the ball.
To anybody.
I think effectively Josh Palmer slides into the Mac Hollins role, where he's just always on the field.
Yeah.
And he'll get some red zone targets, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does end up being like the second best receiver on this team. Like maybe Keon Coleman's not it. I personally don't think that happens because I do think Keon Coleman takes the leap this year.
I hope so. I hope Keon Coleman does. There's a legitimate chance that Josh Palmer leads this team in touchdowns.
Yes.
That's an actual possibility. He's going to be a deep threat kind of guy for this offense. And Allen hits those guys all the time. So as long as Allen and Palmer have some type of connection, he's going to have a little bit of fantasy relevance. You're just going to be chasing it all year, though. He's literally a best ball guy, like you said. And if you're confident playing him, you just have to play him the right week because he's going to have huge spike weeks.
Yeah, he's that watch the matchup, see who plays the man coverage, or if you're just a bad team and you're just looking to try to upset a better team, like say you're playing the number one team, take the shot on Josh Palmer. I would take Josh Palmer over DeAndre Hopkins, and he's under him.
I agree.
I just think Hopkins is kind of aged out, and Baltimore, he's the third or fourth option on a team that doesn't pass the ball a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, they're not a pass-heavy team, so it's hard when you're the third, fourth option in that room. So Yeah, I would happily take Palmer over Hopkins, and I've been a Hopkins defender for his whole career, and it bums my heart that I have to watch him like not be Hopkins. It's really sad.
He's ring chasing. He's at that point of his career,
100%,
like
and I hope
Julio
he gets
Jones.
it. I hope the God he gets
Julio
it.
Jones was just bouncing around all the good teams
Played
in
for
the league.
everybody.
And I think that's where we're at. If DeAndre Hopkins plays next year, he's going to be a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
All right, so Cooper Kupp, Christian Kirk, Steph Diggs. Christian Kirk is the one I want the least of in this situation.
I agree.
Because he's coming off the injury.
Diggs is going to be hurt.
Diggs is too, but I think when Diggs comes back, he's probably the number one receiver in New England. Whereas
but that's the thing.
Christian Kirk is never going to supplant Nico Collins.
No.
And Joe Mixon's there, so heavy run game. And they drafted Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Christian Kirk somehow gets cut. If Nolan Higgins have incredible camps, maybe there's a chance they just move on from Christian Kirk. I don't think so, because I think he brings a veteran presence, and I don't think Jalen Noel as a third-round pick is going to outplay Christian Kirk. But
I also think
Christian Kirk can be phased out by Jalen Noel.
Houston's super wary about receivers. The receivers constantly get hurt. I don't think they would cut a guy from that room. Like last year, they just kept constantly going through receivers, and Christian Kirk's going to eat the slot roll up. And CJ Stroud constantly targets his slot receiver, even in college, even in pros. Like when he was at Ohio State, when they had Olave and Garrett Wilson on the outsides, he targeted JSN in the slot more than he targeted his outside guys. He constantly was targeting Tank Dell in the slot. If Christian Kirk is their slot receiver all season, he's going to have a phenomenal season. Just based on where he's playing, and that's in the slot for CJ Stroud. He's not going to outproduce Nico. That's not going to happen, obviously. But I think there's a really good chance he's the second most productive receiver on this team.
See, I don't. I think Jaden Higgins is going to eat up more of the slot role. Higgins played the big slot there in Iowa State. He's really good out of the slot. I think using the second round capital, he was their first pick. I think he ends up phasing out Christian Kirk to the third passing option. I think even halfway through the year, we might see Jalen Noel jump him. So just off opportunity, I think there's more to go around for Cooper Kupp and Steph Diggs that I would take them over Christian Kirk. Less deep receiving rooms there.
Cooper Kupp's one out of those three guys in my eyes.
Yeah, he's the second option on that team behind JSN.
Yeah.
And Kubiak, he moves guys around. Sam Darnold is going to have to get the ball off quick. The line's still not up to par. So he's going to have to be utilizing those short throws to Kupp and JSN. So yeah, I would also put Kupp over Kirk and Diggs.
Yeah, I would go Kupp, and then I think it's a toss-up with Diggs and Kirk. Just based off Diggs, he's going to miss time. Diggs is going to miss 4 games minimum. It could easily be more. And then when he comes back, who knows if he's going to be healthy. He's going to be the number one receiver. But if he's still not 100% healthy, the target share is not going to be there. And I do like a lot of, I don't love the receivers. I like Kyle Williams a lot. I think he's going to have a really good season for where he's being drafted. And they got Pop Douglas and they got Kayshon Boutte. I think these guys can all produce a little bit. But I just need to know where Diggs, obviously where Diggs' head is, and then where he is healthy.
Diggs is starting off on the wrong foot with Mike Vrabel, and Mike Vrabel isn't
100%. Yeah,
Mike Vrabel
exactly.
That. So there is way more risk involved with Steph Diggs, especially even with coming off the injury. Like Christian Kirk's injury was a collarbone.
Yeah.
But I mean, Christian Kirk's also always hurt. Like every year,
100%.
He misses time. But
he's in the perfect receiver room right now.
Yeah,
he's going to get hurt.
Stephon Diggs is coming off an ACL. He's older. But we did see the juice still last year with Houston. That it was still there. So
yeah, he was good.
All right. The final 4 guys. George Pickens being traded to the Cowboys. Deebo Samuel being traded to the Commanders. DK Metcalf being traded to the Steelers. And then Devontae Adams, who signed with the Los Angeles Rams. This one, to me, it is a no-brainer. And I would take Devontae Adams over all of them.
I'm so worried you weren't going to say that. But yes, no, I agree. I think Devontae Adams is a phenomenal receiver.
Well,
Possibly still top 5 in real life.
I do think there's a
be
chance DK Metcalf has a much bigger workload than Devontae Adams.
For sure.
Who's DK Metcalf's quarterback? Even if it is Aaron Rodgers.
It's going to be Rodgers, and I still don't even care. That's not great.
And I would say Matt Stafford much better than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
And Devontae Adams, it doesn't necessarily become the focal point, so defenses might be looking more at Puka, opening things up for Adams, and then once Adams starts turning things up, they'll focus on him. That opens up things for Puka, whereas DK Metcalf is seeing everything because there's not another viable wide receiver option on this squad.
What? They're going to get Jonnu Smith, so don't worry. Don't you worry, sir.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Bobby Trees Devontae Adams and Roman Wilson are not making me confident. I would love to take DK Metcalf. I love where he's being drafted. He's wide receiver 25 right now.
He's going to finish over that.
That's great value. But there's also a world where DK Metcalf just doesn't get open because Pittsburgh has nothing. Yeah. And it hurts him because he's seeing triple coverage.
Yeah, for sure. The defense knows that they're going to eat him up coverage-wise. And then I love Caleb Johnson, but who knows if they're even going to have a run game to go with their non-existent passing game. There is a real world where Pittsburgh is really bad this year. Like, it's not going to happen because of Mike Tomlin being there. But, like, on paper, like, it's not out of the realm of possibility where Pittsburgh's under 500.
This is going to sound great. I think if Mason Rudolph or Will Howard is this team's quarterback, they'll finish with a better record than if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback.
I think it would be, honest to God, the exact same record. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm right there almost with you. I think it makes no difference who this team's quarterback is.
I think Mike Tomlin would be guaranteed a winning record with Will Howard or Mason Rudolph.
That's a little bold. I think it's going to be pushing it regardless who the quarterback is.
He's done it with Mason Rudolph.
No, I agree.
I worry that Aaron Rodgers is too much of a cancer and he affects Pittsburgh. And then it gives Pittsburgh a chance to finally get a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Maybe that's what they do need. Maybe they need Aaron Rodgers to come in and just completely blow this team up. And they're drafting in the top 10. And they can nab Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier. Maybe they get the materials to trade up for Arch Manning. Who knows if he enters the draft.
He's in the draft.
Either do I. But if he is, the Mannings, I'm sure, would love him in Pittsburgh, to go to Pittsburgh.
For sure.
Yeah.
Great organization.
But yeah, Devontae Adams in this situation is
he's going to eat this year, dude. Yeah. He's going to be so good.
And I was out on Adams last year in Vegas because I just didn't like the quarterback situation. But he's got Matt Stafford, true pro, and
one of the best ever.
Adams showed some juice a little bit here in New York, even though things were abysmal there. Whereas now, I like him being the wide receiver too. I think that's more what's appealing to me with Devontae Adams is Puka is better than him at this point. But the Devontae Adams still should scare defenses, and if they're worried about Puka, Devontae Adams is going to eat. I think Devontae Adams has a ton of touchdowns here. I think it could be one of those years where we saw in Green Bay where he had just a little above 1,000 yards, maybe a little under, but he had 14 touchdowns. And then we just see Puka with 115 catches, 1,200 yards, and like 4 to 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think both these guys are going to... Puka for sure is probably going to be a top 12 receiver, for sure. And I think Adams is going to be borderline right there with him.
Adams is being drafted as wide receiver 14 right now, and I think that's a good range.
I agree. I would have him 12 to 15. Just right now off the top of my head, I think Adams is going to eat. I love any weapon of Matt Stafford's. I like Terrence Ferguson a lot this year too.
Yeah. DK, would you take DK? Would you take DK over the other two, Pickens and Samuel?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, DK's going as wide receiver 25, Samuel's going as wide receiver 35, and Pickens at wide receiver 40. So it's really Debo or Pickens.
I think I would take Pickens over Debo.
I think there's better upside there. Pickens, it plays for like CeeDee Lamb's going to take these opportunities and get shadowed, and it's going to open things up for Pickens. And
how you're looking at Adams not being the number one. I'm so happy George Pickens is not the number one on his team anymore. I think like having CeeDee eating all of that coverage and now having Dak Prescott as your quarterback, I think Pickens could push double-digit touchdowns. He's not going to be a huge PPR guy, obviously, because that's not who he is. But he's going to be lighting up defenses on huge passes.
Yeah. And he's significantly younger than Debo. Debo,
Debo's going to do the complete opposite of what George Pickens does.
Yeah.
They're going to be the complete opposite receivers.
We sort of saw him approach that cliff last year. Now, was it a situation
I think he's
where
way better this year than he is last year?
I agree. I think it was just burnout with the Niners and just the injuries and the team just being bad. I think, and that's just been a constant friction situation there for a long time.
The last 2 or 3 seasons.
And I think going to Washington, where they have Terry McLaurin, he's the clear-cut number one. I think Debo is a good option for Jaden Daniels. Wide receiver 35, that might be probably the range where he ends up, but I don't think there's a ton of upside for Debo Samuel.
I agree.
I think I'd rather take Cooper Kupp than him, and Cooper Kupp's going wide receiver 52 right now.
Yeah, for sure. I would easily rather Cooper Kupp over Debo Samuel. I think Debo's going to be a really good screen guy, zone guy. Like Cliff Kingsbury's going to scheme him into plays, and that's what Debo has to be done. That's when he was at his best. I don't think we're ever going to see prime Debo again, but I think we're going to see shades of it throughout the season with Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels. I think there are going to be a couple times he gets a screen and he just houses it because he's so physical and big. It's just not going to happen consistently like it was in San Fran.
Mm-hmm. You think they utilize him in the run game too? Like
a little bit, yes.
Yeah,
I don't think overly, but I think that it's going to be sneaked in there for sure.
Yeah, I actually think Debo provides a decent floor this year, which is crazy to say because he's never really been a floor guy.
This is the safest Debo Samuel has ever been because we know what we're getting with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be overdrafted and like the risk of what it is. If anything, he's going to be underdrafted now because of what he can do in PPRs. Like where he's going in Washington is what they needed, and it's the perfect fit. He's going to be able to take screens and slants and eat up zone coverage because that's what Washington has always done. And with Jaden Daniels now, this is the best quarterback he's ever had. I'm not saying he's going to have the best season he's ever had, but he's going to have a really good flex season throughout the whole season. Yeah, this might be the most consistent we see Debo Samuel all season.
I agree.
His whole career.
He's going to be a guy you could plug into your flex and probably get
with no worries.
11 to 15 points, and you'll be happy. And I do think you could see some ceiling, some big boom weeks where he gets 20 or so. But I don't think we see those 0.1 point Debo Samuel games that we're getting in San Francisco. So I do agree on the same page where his is the safest he's ever been, but I would still take Pickens over him. I would take Cooper Kupp over him. But I would take Debo over Diggs and Christian Kirk.
Easily. Yep, 100%.
But yeah, like he's going third amongst these guys. I would rank him fifth. It would be Devontae, DK, Pickens, Kupp, Samuel for me. Just off the top of my head.
Yeah, and honestly, if you wanted to switch Pickens and Kupp, I would not bat an eye at that.
That's the one where
I think Cooper Kupp is being legitimately slept on, and I love it for fantasy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's because the last we saw him he was
the last couple weeks. Yes, the last couple weeks, but before those, he looked really good.
Yeah, so I do understand the fall for Cooper Kupp, but I don't understand it to the point where you have him under Christian Kirk and Stephon Diggs.
The fall, it's not that big. It's crazy. But the pendulum swings. This is how fantasy works sometimes.
Yeah, and there's a chance come the time we do our rankings and things start hashing out that Cooper Kupp gets a boost up right now. Because right now, like the ADPs, we're looking at are pretty much best ball situations.
For sure.
And Cooper Kupp probably does not give you a ton of best ball upside.
Yeah, compared to like Steph Diggs, who could easily drop 2 touchdowns any week when he's healthy. We've seen it in Houston, we've seen it in Minnesota, we've seen it in the Buffalo constantly. Steph Diggs is really good when he's healthy. Is he going to be healthy? And is he going to have his head on straight now? That's part of the issue. It's just another puzzle thrown into the Steph Diggs equation.
Yep. All right. Anyone else you want to talk about?
I don't think so, dude. I think we hit pretty much the guys I really needed to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. There you go. Same faces, new places. little fantasy football talk for you guys. Not sure what's on the docket yet for next week.
Couldn't tell
We're
you.
probably gonna start aiming towards dynasty rankings, and we also
We're getting
promised
there.
a way too early 2026 mock draft here in June, so that's coming as well.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm ready for that one almost.
Oh, this guy.
I've been scouting. I've been doing a little bit of early names, mostly quarterback guys. I have like 10 guys jotted down quarterback wise, and there's a couple that I really like. I know you really like one of them.
I've watched one player,
and it's that guy. He's really good.
And it is Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah, he's good, dude. He's good. I like him.
So, yeah.
He's got that dog, dude. He plays hard.
Yeah. There we go. Drafted Up Podcast.
Real quick, this is super off topic. I'm really excited to see the step Nussmeier takes this season, because the step Jaden Daniels took in year 2 at LSU got him to be the second pick in the draft.
That's true. Yeah.
Nussmeier was already projected to be a top 10 pick from last year.
Mm-hmm.
If he can take any bit of that step Daniels took, he's going to be the first pick of the draft next year.
I said it last year. If he would have came out, he was my QB1. Upside. Now,
I was taking Cam Ward over him.
He didn't have better tape than Cam Ward. I don't even think he had better tape than Tyler Shuck. But from a
tape-wise, no, but you could see
projection point,
yes.
I think he has a higher upside than both those guys. And that's where I was sort of pushing Garrett Nussmeier. But yeah, I'm really in.
Yeah, but I'm really excited to see the step he takes in LSU this year, dude.
We'll try to squeeze a little more college talk in during the season. We didn't do a whole lot of college talk except in our prospect spotlights during the year, but we'll try to sprinkle some of that in going here. So
yeah, because I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I'm gonna be trying to follow college football way more this season than I've ever followed before. So I'm all in.
I'm always in. I love college football.
I follow college football, but I don't ever watch the games. I usually just read about prospects and then look at stat lines, look at guys, and all of that. I never really sit down and watch full Saturday worth of college football. That's which fair. I'm trying to do this whole season, dude. I'm trying to watch so much college football.
Yeah. All right, Drafted Up Podcast. You know where to find us. Twitter at @DraftedUp_pod. We're not everywhere. We're everywhere. We're not on Blue Sky.
Well, now you're naming things I don't even know what the hell that is. So I guess we're not everywhere, dude.
When Elon Musk bought Twitter, they made Blue Sky, and a lot of people from Twitter moved on to it. Like all like Schefter, all of them have Blue Sky.
So it's accounts. Like another version of Threads, which I also don't have.
It's like a better version of Thread. It's like a more Twitter based.
It's all too much. Yeah, it's all too much. I
barely use our Twitter account, so you know I say it on here to follow us. If you. I'm not very active. I retweet a lot.
Just follow us on Spotify and YouTube. That's where we really love you guys.
Wherever you listen or watch the show, that's where. Follow, subscribe, like, rate, review, share, all that stuff. Apple, Spotify, YouTube. YouTube's the one where I'm really trying to push. That's where we do our best numbers. So if you want to support the show, head on over to one of those. Like, rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. We appreciate everything you guys do here. Like I said, Dynasty stuff coming up here. Mock draft
right around the corner, baby.
Maybe we'll do some summer scouting stuff. We got a lot. We'll figure out where we do these things, but that's what you have to look forward to. What order? I don't know. So
couldn't tell you.
Nick, Theo, we outie. Drafted Up Podcast. Support our friends over at Dubby Finley Force. Link in the description for Finley Force. Dubby Drafted Up is the code. 10% off. We'll see you guys next week. Adios.
Adios. Bye, y'all.